It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stitch of Fate, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by four wonderful players, Mark, Josh, Dot, and Bub. Hey, guys, how's it going?
What's up?
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be a good one. We are now officially more than halfway through Season 3. We're on the tail end. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The story is coming to its conclusion. I'm very excited for that. Before we get going, as always, though, just a big shout out to everybody over at patreon.com/podbynight for supporting the channel. Without you guys, there wouldn't be a third season like we're doing now. We wouldn't be able to give you guys the behind the scenes stuff. There was a blooper thing sent the other day.
Yeah, Mark's kissy faces made it to Patreon.
Yeah, Mark was giving us all kinds of kisses. He just couldn't stop.
Not so much a
It was just
blooper as a
nonstop.
technical glitch.
He was just,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
just
sure.
showing us what new kindred do the moment that they're turned. They just immediately...
Right.
As they
That's
come back
the
to
Toreador
life.
exclusively. Yeah, if you're a patron of that tier, please go check that stuff out. It's hilarious what the technical glitch provided for us last week. It was great. Other than that, you guys can also support us through merch. We have merch stuff for sale. If you go over to our Twitter page, twitter.com/podbynight, there's a link tree there. It'll send you pretty much everywhere you need to go to support us or check out what we're doing and how we're working on things moving forward. So that's your best place to find all those fun links. And if you do want to join the Discord, even if you're not a patron, you can still do so. It's free for you guys to join, jump into the community. We have a bunch of new faces. I think we're jumping in today or something recently. I think we've seen a lot of new people be flying into our Discord as of
I heard a lot of new
late.
people are getting caught up now. So
It's about, it's like, the holidays are over now and we're back from our break. So this is a perfect time to start binging and catching up with the season. So did I miss anything? Is that everything? In terms of announcements that we want to make, or is there something else?
We're doing a couple of changes to the Patreon, adding new rewards, moving things around, making sure that we can get everything to you. But overall, I think it's a positive change just so we can get everything out and get cool rewards for you lot. That's, I mean, not a huge change, but you might want to check out the rewards, see what you do and don't want, and
yeah, keep an eye out. Merch is becoming a thing, so some of the tiers may start getting some merch, which is kind of cool. And we'll have a Patreon video coming out talking about every change as well as every addition, and you'll be tired of hearing our voices.
I don't think that's the case, but if you are, you probably should turn the episode
Maybe you
off.
should not go to Patreon.
Yeah, you should probably not support this podcast.
No, I'm not going to downplay it. I'm actually really excited about our update. I think it's going to be
I do
sick.
too.
We've
It's
got a
gonna
lot
be
of
really
new
great.
things coming, and I think anybody who's on board at any level is going to be impressed with some of the changes. It's more suited for your needs and right at your budget. So promise it's going to be worth it. You're going to want to check it out.
It's true.
Yeah, please. Patreon.com/podbynight. Again, check all that stuff out and support the show directly. That being said, I think that's it. We have a bit of a tense scene to open up with, so this is going to be an interesting episode. I'm very excited to see what happens. So without further ado, let's rein it in, set the scene, and see what our coterie is up to. The first sound that greets our ears is that of rolling tires on pavement. A car careening down a New York road with plenty of other traffic in front and behind it. As the camera follows the car and makes its way through the rearview mirror into the silent, quiet sounds of the back seat of this long, dark vehicle with tinted windows, we see Vera sitting alone in the back seat, being driven somewhere. All you were told was a coffee shop for a coffee date that you were offered, or you offered 10 years ago and were subsequently denied at the time. I imagine Vera stares at the window stoically, no outward signs of stress. Pure relaxation, ever the professional. But I am curious what thoughts may be going through Vera's mind as you watch the New York skyscrapers slowly blur by and the orange lights of the street lights on the street kind of You get that pattern of like light and darkness as the car keeps moving. What thoughts trickle through Vera's mind?
Are we leaving this city?
No, it's very much within New York.
I think now that Vera has more of the puzzle in place, more pieces are kind of falling into place, she almost knows, maybe not where she's going, but who she's going to. It's long since passed. She has made no direct contact with Mia, and not really that much with Larson. She's been rather a hands-off player in the kind of what's been going on. And now that Kadir is gone, she feels very in the dark, I think, as to what to do. And when you are desperate, you put all your chips in. So here we are.
And as those thoughts trickle through your mind, watching the buildings pass by for what seems like 5 minutes or an hour, it's hard to tell. Eventually, it does roll to a stop in front of a small coffee spot called the Mud Spot. Outside, only a single table is being seated. A single man, by himself, sipping coffee, staring upward into the night sky nonchalantly as the door opens on your passenger side and you are escorted out of the vehicle. As you're guided to the sidewalk and pedestrians move out of the way for you, though many can't help but turn and look their head at such a stunning person passing them by. Can I get a, from you, dear Vera? Resolve intelligence for a memory roll, please.
It looks like I got a single
You can reroll 1 if you spend a willpower.
I don't think Vera would care to remember a place called the Mud Hole. Is that what you called it?
The Mud Spot.
The Mud Spot. I'm sorry.
Come on now.
Yeah,
I don't. Wonderful reviews on Yelp.
Yeah, I don't think she would care too terribly much. She probably even wafts the idea of a memory of ever coming to a place called the Mud Spot.
As you kind of like scratch your head, like, no, I've definitely never been here. You're right, you've never been to the Mud Spot. But as your gaze kind of goes across the customers and you can now see inside the building, there's only a few stragglers on the inside. It's when your eyes meet the person sitting outside that you pause for a minute. There's a moment of thought. He's a young man in his 20s somewhere, wearing a button-down shirt, a black tie, and khaki pants with with dress shoes, short, tidy blonde hair, and wrapped around his neck is a crimson cord, a deep, deep crimson. And there's a moment you think, scratch your head, and then the conversation with Duke comes to mind. And then there's that recollection. This is the preacher from the ice rink all those years ago. The one that you sarcastically invited to coffee, but he was too busy. As you had recently mugged him, in a way, in a nearby alley.
As I kind of isolate this man with my vision, I'm gonna put on heightened senses.
Please do. It's free.
It is. Just to see if anything seems out of the ordinary. Yeah, and then I'll add my aspects to that.
Yeah, you rolled 3 successes. However, you can re-roll one of those if you choose to spend a willpower.
You know what? This seems important. I will. Luck is not on my side.
Still, 3 successes is not a bad roll. That's above average in difficulty. Vera takes a moment. She steps on the inside of the coffee shop, and just as quickly as the light chatter of the inside of this shop fills her ears, very quickly too do the sounds of cars heighten, the distance sharpen, and Vera's own senses, as described, become heightened. You can see further, hear more detailed, and as you look around, seeing if this man is perhaps alone, or perhaps this is a setup, maybe everybody in the coffee shop is here to ambush you and take you down, it seems, at the very least, he is alone. Nothing seems to stick out or out of the ordinary. No strange eyes linger on you a little too long. No familiar footsteps seem to repeat themselves as they pass or pace by the same store. It does seem to just simply be New York pedestrians surrounded with a familiar face sitting outside sipping a coffee as he gazes into a clear night sky.
I think Vera will stroll up to the table, and as she gets within ear range, say, "Is this seat taken?"
Vera steps out the door and the jangle of the bell rings as the door shuts behind her and that inner chatter of the coffee shop becomes muted while the sounds of the New York City outdoors once again become the dominant sound in the area. And as you stride toward the table and ask if the seat is taken, he simply gives you a small smile and gestures to the open chair.
Vera has a very delicate seat.
The chair is pulled out, and we watch Vera elegantly slide into her seat as she does. You watch as this man puts his coffee down, lays his elbows on the table, and seems to just look at you curiously, perhaps is a good word, a slight eyebrow raised, but doesn't seem to say anything.
Well, this isn't going to be much of a date if neither of us says anything.
So you do remember?
On the occasion.
I wasn't sure if, and he kind of motions just with his hand up and down his face and his body. I wasn't sure if you'd remember our chance encounter.
Yes. It was another who made me acutely aware of your stalking of myself and my coterie for the last few years.
His smile dissipates, but it's not replaced with an aggressive look, simply a stoic one, and he leans his elbows back off the table as he leans back into his chair. You know, I pictured this going a little differently, a little bit more assertive, aggressive from me, but seeing you across the table, feet from me for the first time since that ice rink, I'd lie if I say I wasn't flustered. It's really good to see you.
Well, I imagine you have a new name.
And I imagine you have many questions. Before we get going, and he puts his hands on the table, I make it acutely aware I'm alone here. However, should any moves be made, actions taken that put me away, so to speak, more than Kindred will die.
You've known me for a long time. I may be really good at killing. Yes.
He just nods.
But I have zero interest in harming you.
He does chuckle gently at that. You know, at one point I believed that I knew you. At one point I truly thought I did. And yet, here we are at opposite ends of a table.
Well, that was a long time ago. We were different people, different goals.
He shakes his head.
You disagree? We've gone from having small groups of kind worship at our feet to you starting a cult to bring down the Camarilla.
And I believed you for 30 years to be on the same page as us. And then one singular night, all our beliefs flipped.
Oh, please.
You betrayed us.
Your order, my order, and your degeneracy are one and the same thing. Neither of us are fighting for any real cause. You only fight for yourself.
He leans back again. I see there are aspects of you that haven't fully changed then. There's still that fire in you, even though you play housemaker now.
Well, some things are easier, and I'm good at them. And it doesn't require me to tie people to the ceiling and bleed them. You know what I mean?
He does nod, and you watch as he very visibly relaxes a bit before you. His shoulders drop a bit. It's little things that Vera picks up with her heightened senses and dealing with people on a regular basis. It's easy to read body language, and he does seem to relax a little bit in his posture. Before we continue this conversation in any particular direction, As an offering of trust, you have questions. Let me answer them.
Considering the fact you just called me out on trust, I'm a little concerned on making a deal around one, but I'm going to ask my questions and I'll decide if you're telling the truth. Why? Why start a seedy little cult? Why does the Camarilla scratch at you so? Why do you give a fuck?
And you never knew me if you have to ask that.
Well, let's say my memory has eluded me.
My desires have not changed, Vera. My conviction has never faltered or wavered, and he just makes a general gesture in your direction. The Camarilla is a plague, as are the Anarchs and as are any who pretend to add some sort of freedom through government and rulership over our kind.
And you? What do you do?
You know, that leads into such more, a much more complicated...
Yes, a philosophical question. What do they call you? Father?
It is comical, isn't it? A little bit.
Yes, you always were one for macabre humor. A long time ago, you might have known a part of me. But you know what your downfall was?
Trusting you.
What Savas' downfall was, yes. All of you gullible little men believed me. And none of you could tell that that wasn't really who I was. And over the years, I've found people that actually know who I am. I make their company. They know me.
We knew who you allowed us to know, Vera.
I remember holding your naked body when you told me you loved me. I thought to myself, after what we just did, that can't be love. I don't think you can love anything, Antoine.
You'll never know then.
Maybe not.
You don't know who you were to us. You were our focal point. You may not have been the priest, but you kept us grounded. You kept us moving. Even in our greatest failures, it was you, all of us, turned to.
And when I gave you a choice, standing there, I gave you all a choice to come with me, back to the Camarilla, to try something new that didn't revolve around death and destruction of everything around you.
He looks and gestures his hand. Has the Camarilla not taken rule by simply taking by destruction and force?
Possibly. But you see, I don't care about the Camarilla. I stand where I need to. And you know what that has gotten me?
House on the corner of a street where you can take care of your children?
Well, it did, until I had to burn it down because of your dumbass.
He smiles a little bit.
So the problem is, you can't let go, Antoine. You want me so badly to fight in your war that you'll bring it to my doorstep.
No, I don't want you to fight in our fucking war. I want you to feel what you put us through. The war to the Camarilla is coming, has been raging, and continues to rage on the fronts across this entire country and the world. But New York could have been ours.
What, and then the Camarilla builds back up and comes back for you? It is a vicious cycle. You still don't understand, Antoine. I don't care about you and your cause, or the Camarilla. I just want to be left alone, to my own devices. If I have to live out eternity, I might as well plan and prep for it. And you, and Larson, and the prince, and all of their business gets in the way of me being able to do that. And for you to say you didn't bring it to my doorstep, you took something from me. And you know I hate that.
I'm taking back what you took from us.
I didn't take anything from you. The Camarilla did.
And you are part of that machine, are you not?
Sure. Maybe I'm a cog in their machine. But in the end, you're still living on a compound somewhere with a bunch of thin bloods.
Vera, you waved your right to solitude away when you betrayed your friends and family for a government system that you wish nothing to be a part of.
We all have to deal with things. Antoine, your biggest flaw is you never did. You took it out on everyone around you.
And you, Vera? And you've been living a better life. You simply moved from one pack of misfits.
I didn't say it was better. But it is mine. It is my pack of misfits. My family. And you took one of them from me.
Because you took mine from me. And now, fair is fair, Vera. I've been watching as you build your little family. Your own little commune in a failed club at the corner of a street under the law of those we fought against. It was smart, though, I have to admit, so I mimicked it. Simple. Take in the forgotten few. Build trust from there. And move to more power. Just so happens that those in New York not taken care of by the thin blood primogen are easy to pick apart. Flock. Sheep. Like yours. And like you, I gave them safety. A home. A place to belong, a way to feed. And a way to be themselves and be free away from the prying eye of your government in this godforsaken fucking city. And they came to see me as someone they could follow. Trust. I became their father. Much like you became Sean's mother.
I was never Sean's mother.
Maybe not in such a direct sense, but Sean looked up to you.
Sean was my chance of redemption. A thin blood I didn't want to kill on sight.
And how'd that go?
Well, I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
Sean was as weak as I expected him to be. Easily manipulated and influenced. Desperate for a place to belong. Clearly didn't feel fully at home with you. How quickly he was ready to take the robe.
You really believe that?
Do you truly think Sean was anything special? He reacted violently to my blood.
Good for him. I hope he enjoyed every drop. And I hope there was a moment you questioned whether you made the right fucking choice.
The only time I questioned it is when he seemed like he might not go through with it, Vera. He was your special boy anyway. I wanted to make sure I took good care of him.
See, do you know the difference between you and me?
I would never betray my friends.
No. I never owned Sean. For whatever reason, you felt you had a right to him. That he, just like every other thin blood you're manipulating, are just currency for you. You would waste their lives on some kamikaze bullshit. You think I don't know? Kamikaze nonsense. Their lives, their second life, a chance. That's what that is what we offered Sean. You never offered him a chance.
He shakes his head. Yeah. I didn't want to offer him a chance, Vera. I wanted to pluck him from your loving embrace, remove him from your protection, and take him from you, like you took everything from me.
I can't believe all of this has come down to something personal.
You left us to die, Vera. Something personal.
I set you up to die. Yes, And look at you, thriving under a big curly head of blonde hair. What are you bitching about? The fact I set you up. The fact that you loved me and I never loved you. What is it that really gets under your skin? Or, excuse me, this body's skin.
I wanted a conversation with you because I wanted to know if there was still part of you that I thought was real there. But clearly, I was wrong.
Why? Because I don't believe in your philosophical way? Because I don't want to tear the Camarilla down and slaughter kine in the streets or turn them into slaves?
And tell me, Vera, what was it that you were doing for the Camarilla again when you joined them? What was your role? Because, from my understanding, most of the Thin Bloods escaped into my clutches because you were out there slaughtering them. They ran to me for safety, not you.
My role was to do as I was told.
Like a good lapdog. Congratulations. Good girl.
It was the first time in my life where I didn't have to answer to my sire or to anyone.
You think you had to answer to someone in our pack? Whom do you believe you needed to answer to? The priest? Yeah, he had made calls. But we looked to you, Vera. You were our emotional core. You were who we rallied around during our greatest successes and failures. You were who I fell in love with. Yes, I admit it. I truly loved you. And so on the night you turned and left us to die, everything I thought I believed, everything I thought Sava believed, and those in our pack believed, proved to be nothing but a well-formed Toreador fucking lie. So yes, this is personal. To a degree. Do I still want New York to fall? And I'm still, yes, all of that. But first, I needed you to lose something as much as we did. We lost you, Vera. We all loved you. And then you build a new fucking family under the protection of a government we strove to keep down. And then you take in a Thin Blood like some lost puppy after slaughtering God knows how many of them. To make some amends, to give yourself some sort of peace because you felt some sort of guilt deep down. Sean was gonna be your beacon to a better life. Oh, fuck that. Sean was weak-willed and pathetic as I thought him to be. He took the bait, and he died because of it. And even if you feel an inkling of the pain that we felt on that night, then I am satisfied. But I need you to know, we loved you. You were who we looked to.
Do you want to know why I had to do it?
He just maintains stoic eye contact. It's clear to you he's on the verge of... Rage is maybe the word that comes to mind, but not so much in like the bestial sense. But continue.
The lot of you, all of you, were horrible creatures. It wasn't about the Sabbat anymore. And you're right. I was a shepherd for horrible creatures. I had to change, Antoine. Or I was going to become one. I didn't take the job because I wanted to cleanse the Camarilla of this city. I took it because I thought it'd get me out of the pressing thumb of my sire. And it did at great cost. What was left of me.
We could have killed your sire together, Vera.
You think I want to kill him? There are so many things worse than death.
Whatever it was, we could have done it fucking together, Vera.
But Antoine, I don't lie with creatures. You didn't want to change. You would live out eternity until you lost yourself.
You never gave me the chance.
I gave you every chance.
If you had at least spoken to me about this, Vera, we could have talked about it. We could have made changes. You didn't have to go back to the lap of the Camarilla, and maybe we didn't need to continue doing what we were doing. We were Sabbat. We do what we please, no matter what it is.
Never Sabbat. I was an undercover Camarilla agent sent by the Prince and the Sheriff of New York City to infiltrate and plan a coup during the Battle of New York.
Now I've taken something from you, and the sheriff will get his due soon.
You have Kadir.
You're surprised? You haven't seen him, I'm imagining, since that night.
My hope was he had gone underground.
He shrugs. Can't always get what you want, huh?
It's a funny thing. Vera never really gets what she wants. So this is it. You're just going to spill your beans and tell me all of your plottings and plannings. What for?
He shakes his head. I haven't told you anything. Anything that you shouldn't know at this point.
Oh. There you are again, all the power and control.
Like I said, I wanted to talk to you because I wanted to know if you were still there. Clearly,
if I was still playing Sabbat, no. I'm not.
You don't want anything. You don't want to work for the Camarilla. You want to be left alone. So why do you still work with them?
I had plans. And then you sent Larson to my doorstep. And my plans had to change. See, there was one thing you did know about me. But just like everybody else around you, you underestimate them. Like you underestimate Sean.
Sean is gone, so I wouldn't suggest I underestimated him.
What do you want?
Let's broker a deal then. You truly don't want anything to do with the Camarilla. You want to be left alone. You want, what, freedom to, what, have a farm in the middle of what, Minnesota? Or just to not be under the prying eye of the Camarilla? Why are you still in New York then?
Because this is my home.
Make a new one.
You want me to leave the city?
Yes. Yes. You...
What?
You have the prince, or what was once the prince, somewhere in your property, somewhere in your ownership. Hand her over, leave. I won't chase you. Hell, I'll even tell you where the rest of the pack went if you have any interest. Hunt them down. Find their answers. But leave New York to me. Walk away. Can't win here. You kill me, everybody under me becomes fanatical. They start taking up their own attacks and New York becomes a battleground. Don't kill me, and I'm going to continue down my path. Move toward New York whether you're living in it or not. And if I fail, I will fail righteously and by his name. Leave, and you won't have to ever think about this city again. Walk away.
Well, as kind of a deal as that is, and I'll take it under dense consideration. Say I don't.
Panhard dies.
You know, a deal is only fair if I get something out of it. And it seems like you are walking away with everything.
When have you known me to be fair, Vera? And I'm giving you an opportunity to take exactly what you want.
Oh, yes, an opportunity. For me to leave the only city where I have resources and connections, to pander across the great states of America, to find another city in which I'm going to have to start from nothing at 100 years old. Entrail a coterie. And what? You must think I'm stupid.
No, I think you're practical, Vera. So stay. Play the odds. See what happens. You'll enjoy the show, I'm sure of it. And you could end my life now. He kind of brings his arms open and wide. Take the shot and end it. See what happens.
Like I said, I don't have any interest in killing you.
He, as you say that, his arms come down. He reaches forward for his coffee and he brings it up to take a sip. I've offered you my deal. What I'm willing to go and meet halfway for. How I'm willing. Your choice to take it or not, but I'm moving forward regardless, Vera. But I needed to talk to you first. I needed to know. And I'm glad at the very least we had this conversation, even if we never speak again.
Well, funny thing. I was thinking. Since I need to simmer on this deal. It's a lot to consider. Say I want to contact you. Are you going to bring me to the mud spot every time we need to talk?
You don't get to reach out to me.
Oh, there's that control again. How, dear father, would you like me to reach you?
I will reach out to you in a week.
A week?
You have a week to think on it.
Are you going to come knocking at my ashy door?
He just sips his coffee and nods.
Oy vey. Fine. 1 week. We'll be expecting you. Avoid making a scene.
He doesn't respond.
Should I pick up the check? Or has...
He just waves at you to go.
I get up, and on my way out, or as I stand to go to turn, I stop and I spin back around, and I reach out a hand, and I run it down the side of his face, as long as he'll allow me.
As you bring it in, as soon as you touch, he swats the hand away, stands up, and just maintains eye contact. It may have been a lie for you, Vera, but it was our truth. And he walks.
I watch him go.
As he walks into the coffee shop, he waves at the guy behind the register, and he's like, "Oh, leaving Fred, have a good one," and kind of waves away as the guy behind the counter just calls him out by name. He gives him a smile and a plastered fake genuine good night, and father walks out the front doors and strolls down the sidewalk until he's out of sight.
Oh hi, it's me, Vera. While you're taking a break, take a moment to visit DieHardDice.com. Die Hard Dice is a sponsor of this little podcast. They make what we do possible. During checkout, make sure to use the code DRACPAK, DRACPAK, and you'll get 10% off your entire purchase. And we get a little cut for our own resources. Sounds like we only roll with the best. I look around this place.
You said nothing was out of sorts. It doesn't seem that there are other kindred here.
Didn't seem, no.
Okay. Did he leave a car?
No, he did not leave you a car.
Of course he didn't leave a car. I go up to the counter. What was the guy's name?
You don't know. He called that guy Fred. He called Father Fred.
Oh, he called Father Fred.
Yeah, like
right.
He seems to know him as a regular customer.
I see. Oh, really? Now that's interesting.
The best you guess. But it seems like it. That's what Vera would pick up on.
I go up to the counter and I lean over and I go, "It seems that my ride has left without me. Does cab service come this way?"
He just, as you walk up to him, and he seemed to be about to be taking an order from the next person in line, but as you step up, his attention snaps to you. And as you say that, he almost very quickly agrees. He's like, oh, just take a seat. I'll get you a cab. Don't worry about it. I can't believe that happened. And he picks up the phone and he calls you a cab.
That's very kind. As soon as he's like done and hangs up, that's so kind of you. Do you know Fred well?
A little flustered that you are speaking with him now as you kind of get a good look at this guy. He's completely bald. He's got a nice ring around the side of his head, though, like of hair, picked up a card style. And he's got a really kind of spotty mustache, but no beard whatsoever. And as he gives you a smile, incredibly white teeth and good teeth, though, as he gives you a big smile. He's like, Fred, yeah, he's in here a few times a month. He's not like... not by a schedule, but he comes in here enough where we all know him. He seems to be a very good guy, very, very religious man.
It's true. He and I are old friends from college.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go?
Wellesley.
NYU.
Yes. It's long before, of course, he turned to ministry.
Sometimes the call of God is too strong to ignore for some.
Oh,
Mine was
amen.
obviously, and he gestures to coffee, the call of caffeine. And that pleasant demeanor he has kind of fades to frustrated and annoyed.
Well, it's actually rather serendipitous. He and I bumped into one another. I don't see him often, and I dare say I forgot to get his number. Do you think the next time he's in here you could give me a call?
Do you give me charisma manipulation persuasion. This is Vera's.
Oh, okay, can do.
Yeah, I figure. He's immortal. It's not going to take too much. A difficulty of well, my God, you crit.
1, 2, 3, 4,
you
5 crit.
Regular crit. Oh no, messy crit takes. Does messy crit overrule regular crit?
I think we had this question
Weird.
last time.
I think we did have this question last time.
There's hang on, there's a bit.
Let's
in the
see.
book
Messy
about
Critical says, let's see, critical win in which one or more tens appear. The beast scored the critical, perhaps not you.
You know, I've got it. I'm going to say it was a messy crit. I think it makes sense for it to be messy. It's nothing crazy you're going to do. On his end, he's like, oh, yeah. And he grabs a piece of receipt paper, tears it off, and on the back he scribbles a number down, and he just slides the number over. Anytime. Oh, wait. You want... Yeah, no. You call...
I take the number. I still
yeah, he's very flustered as he's like raised. Like, wait, did you say you were going to call... I was going to call you? Oh,
how about this? I know. I apologize for interrupting you. You seem very busy. I take the receipt paper out of his hand, rip off my own piece, hand it back to him, and then gingerly write down the cell phone number for John.
There, yeah, that's perfect. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll next time he's around, I'll give you a call. Your name was what was it again?
Call me Wilma.
Oh, all right. And he writes it down. All right, well, Wilma, it was a pleasure to meet you, and yeah, I'll let you know next time Fred's in. He'll probably be thrilled to hear from an old friend. He's always in here by himself.
Yes, it was a wonderful conversation, and I look forward to our next.
He just gives you a very dumb grin, and then you would think that the line of 2 or 3 people would be annoyed, but they seem very patient and very willing to wait for this conversation to go. And as you turn, you see 3 people not eavesdropping, but clearly not paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah, he just got my number basically.
yeah. They watch the exchange happen, and you see a girl in the background just be like, damn it.
All right. Yeah, and the cab will pull up, and as soon as it does, Vera kind of bolsters out to the cab and will figure out a way to make her way home.
And as the cab drives off and the screen fades to black, it'll fade back in at the outside of the entrance to your basement dwelling, so to speak. The 3 of you are down there doing, the night having just gotten wrapped up with Sava and Max having returned from Larson's house. I believe it's the same night or the night before. You hear familiar high-heeled steps on concrete echoing through the basement. Vera's returned.
Hey, Vera, what's the rumpus?
Oh, we have much to speak on. Is everyone here?
Roll call. We need a roll call.
Yeah.
John, acquire Duke, please, and
Yes,
check
of course.
a dark corner for Sava.
Oh, yes. Shall I get? And as he's about to say something, between his legs, Max Jr.'s like right through, and he's like, "Ah, yes." And he picks up the cat. And as he picks him up, you do notice his sleeve falls back, and there's a bunch of claw marks from the cat having like gripped on multiple times. But the cat seems to be purring as John holds him. "I'll find Max first," and he waddles off with Max Jr. in his arms. But Max being right there, having shouted, "Vera, what's the rumpus?" John, but like kind of starts like, "Oh, Max," and he hands Max Jr. over to you as he goes to look for Sava and Duke.
Yeah, there you go. John, you're gonna want to be careful
He's so
with this
cute.
guy. He could take your face off
Sava?
so easy.
Sava!
Yes, old man. What do you want?
Roll call. There's roll call at the front door, Sava.
The fuck are you, a teacher?
Mr. Premind. Mr. Premind.
John.
Mr.
John,
Premind.
right here.
Oh, Mr. Premind. Hello, Mr. Premind. There is a roll call for Vera at the front door.
Very well. Thank you, John.
You're welcome, Mr. Premind. Anything else, Vera?
Have a seat and some water, John.
Yes, of course. And he goes and he sits down.
Max, I have bad news.
That's the first thing you all hear out of Vera's mouth as you all come around for roll
Getting
call.
right to it, huh, Vera?
Well, at this point, there's no need to beat around the bush. I may or may not have handled the situation well. But considering the fact that, nobody's eyes were gouged out, I feel like maybe it was a success.
Sure, so, what's the bad news?
Well, Duke picked up on a lead of somebody that it might be from my past, and as usual, Duke was correct.
So, father is, what was it again? Soapbox? This guy, Soapbox?
Yes. His real name was Antoine, at least in that life. He now wears He looks different, I guess. He's not in the same body in certain ways.
And, what about what happened with Sean? We get any confirmation on that?
Same story, different person.
Right.
That being said, he's offered us a deal. Which, much to Sava's amusement, I too almost laughed, as if I would ever make a deal with the devil.
Sure, but, what were his terms?
To pack up and leave New York. Hand over the prince. And he would leave us alone.
Aside from the handing over the prince part, we were, kind of mulling that idea, rolling it around anyway, but, yeah, handing over the prince doesn't really sound like, the play here, does it?
He's dead serious about blowing up the Camarilla. It's just tacky enough for him.
Yeah, well, this guy's a true believer, right?
I guess. He truly believes it himself. I'll tell you that much.
All right, then.
I unfortunately still don't have a location, but he will be back in a week. He'll be sending someone for me again, I'm sure.
Oh, so, you didn't just tell him to fuck off, then?
Well, in so many words, I might have. Old friends, you know how to push the right buttons, I guess.
Okay, so, as far as he knows, in a week's time, we might take this deal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which gives us roughly a week to either make a choice or come up with a better plan.
I think I know what I prefer.
I'll be honest. It is the easiest thing to pack our bags and leave, at least what's left of our bags. But we would start with nothing, and no support.
Well...
And how do we explain needing a new mask for each of us?
Well...
And
it's not like I'm gonna need a new mask.
I guess that's true. But you are technically dead.
Yeah. Yeah, about that. Look, if we're gonna want me to look into, the whereabouts of a mutual acquaintance of ours, I'm gonna have to poke my head back up.
So, since he's taking drastic measures, I thought we could maybe meet him. Drastic measures. Unfortunately, I don't exactly know how to make that happen.
No worries, Vera. I've already met this accommodation.
Say we don't stick with just the Camarilla. Say we go above local law.
What do you...
Not a terrible idea, but it's a very quick way for me to lose my head.
Yes, well, you may have to stick it in the ground while we do it. But I'll tell you, I imagine a Justicar would like to know that the city of New York is about to become one giant crater.
Jesus, those are big words. Oh, God.
Sava is going to be a little preoccupied in the interim. I hope you're not too tired, Vera.
Sleep is for the weak.
Or for those that we need to provide proof of, and the damage done.
Yes, yeah, I imagine you'll need to move quickly.
Yes, Sava has agreed. And Duke looks to Sava.
I've agreed to be staked and sent with you to the Tremere. This is not a sleepover. I'm not staying there.
Hey, come on, Sava. It's your own fault. I mean, if you'd been like me and got some blood in you right away, maybe you wouldn't be having this conversation.
You're like a little gift basket.
I have to be a little more careful with it than you. As long as you put me in the box.
The Tremere have a bit of a storied relationship with the Camarilla as a whole. And yes. I believe that we make a move. And I call in a favor and speak directly with Miss Sturbridge of the Chantry, the Regent.
That is another bold step. I'll be honest, at this point I'm down for just about anything.
I think we have to move tonight, however. With the news and the revelations and the damage done to Sava, if we wait much longer, he'll recover and there will be no proof of the actions.
Agreed.
Okay.
I'll have John pull the car around.
We want to do this right now?
As Max pulls his weaponized stake out of the harness that he's got on under his coat.
Oh, wait, let me get a seat. I pull up a chair.
Chair gets dragged across the concrete as Vera elegantly sits upon it. Max.
Maybe you should get into a box first, and then I'll stake you, huh?
Max is a professional. This isn't the first time that he's tortured a kindred.
Nope.
It's true.
Yes. I have never experienced this from this side of things. Oh, okay, 1 second. I get in a box and I stare at the ceiling, like wriggling around, cracking my shoulders. Okay, quick, clean, not at a weird angle, okay?
No,
I hope he doesn't miss.
No worries. This baby's been with me a while, and it ain't no, broken off table legging or nothing, right? It'll go in smooth. All right, you ready?
No.
The tip of the stake gets pressed up against the skin, and just above the hilt, we watch as Max's palm gets flattened.
Oh yeah, I actually undo my shirt. I'm like, this was expensive.
Yeah, I get you.
For someone else.
No worries. No worries. Okay. All right. All set?
Yeah, go.
Okay, listen. Just in case anything goes wrong, I thought I should take this opportunity to apologize. I don't know if I ever done it proper, but I'm sorry when we first met, the very first thing I did was smack you right in the puss.
Oh, I am not sorry for that.
That's okay. I'm sorry I was trying to be intimidating.
Okay, great.
Bad first move.
All right, so if anything goes wrong, then the scales are balanced. Okay, here we go.
And with a large thud and the cracking of ribs, the camera goes to black. And we will return next week with more Stitch of Fate. Goodbye, everybody.
Hi there, mortals. Thanks for tuning in. It's your dear Vera Volkov, and I'm here to tell you that the club is undergoing a few renovations after a little accident, and we could use all the resources to get us back on our feet. You can help us by either joining our Patreon or getting your hands on an official Stitch of Fate or Drakpack t-shirt by visiting TeePublic and searching Pod by Night. Well, go on. What are you waiting for?